For Yoga Teacher Summit, created by Great Energy. My name is Christopher, and I'm honored to be co-hosting the summit with Daniela Hess. The Extraordinary Yoga Teacher Summit is here to uplift and empower yoga teachers with the depth, steadiness, and skill that transform students' lives. Today's session is with our featured teacher, Heather Mason, whose wisdom and experience offer so much to this path. Heather Mason is an educator, innovator, policy advocate, and thought leader in yoga therapy, renowned for her work in integrative mind-body mental health. She is the founder and course director of the Minded Institute, founding trustee of the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance, played a central role in establishing the all-party parliamentary group on yoga in society, where she served as the secretariat, has been entrusted as the steward of the Yoga Biomedical Trust, founded by the late Dr. Robin Monroe, and co-hosts the Yoga for Health podcast. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Heather, if you
Mhm.
would be so willing to start by sharing a little bit about yoga therapy. The title of this talk is An Emerging Whole Person Health Intervention. So if you could share with us through your lens of passion for yoga therapy, we would love to hear more from you on that.
Absolutely. So, yoga therapy, in some sense, would sit under the umbrella of yoga overall. But I want to name that it is distinct. It is a healthcare profession. And as the name would suggest, it's focused on a therapeutic intervention. So, how can yoga be used with different health conditions? Now, there has been an increase in interest in yoga's therapeutic applications. Possibly, in my space, the biggest is the use of yoga for trauma. To clarify, that is somewhat distinct from yoga therapy. So, yoga therapy is an emerging field that does focus on this, but as well is drawing on psychotherapeutic skills, medical knowledge, person centered approach, which, if that's new language for you, means that moment by moment you're responding to the need of a person. And so it's usually done one to one. There's some physiotherapeutic knowledge as well. So if somebody comes with an injury, you have real knowledge around that. And depending upon the school, some other things knitted in, like the Minded Institute is really well known for neuroscience. And the idea is that the yoga therapist responds to the five domains of self that yoga recognizes, or the koshas, right? So the body, the energy or breath, or the energy and breath, the mind, discernment and intuition, and joy. And so it's really quite extensive, because if somebody shows up, just to give you an example with depression, you're not just saying, well, why are you depressed, as a talking therapist would, or saying to them, do this pranayama or this breathing technique. Rather, you're looking at, okay, how is depression showing up in your posture? Because that's part of its um, iteration. How is it showing up in how you breathe? What are the thought processes? When is your discernment lacking? And why can you not connect to joy? So, I mean, obviously, I could go on about this for hours. It's been my life's work, but I hope that that gives somewhat of an understanding of the profession.
Thank you so much, Heather. Um, what area in what you just shared are you leaning into right now? What do you love share? Like if you could, you're in an elevator and the elevator like breaks, right? And you're all safe and someone is interested in what you have to share. Where is your enthusiasm and aliveness in this topic right currently?
Oh, it's in a lot of places. I mean, mental health has always been the orientation. I'm very public about the fact that I have had significant mental health issues that led me to this. So I would probably draw them in and start talking about a mental health condition. The one that I am most interested in is PTSD. But if I'm going to be really honest, I'm going down a rabbit hole of cellular biology and how specifically yoga practices, and most particularly breathing, can affect you at a cellular level based on like real hard scientific research. So if I had that person's ear and they couldn't escape, that's probably what I would go into. So exciting. For everybody listening, when you look at the research and when you look at what yoga offers, it is exceptional how wise ancient yogis were and the power of these practices that we're really starting to uncover, like the real tangibly measurable practices by science. So yeah, I mean you've basically now put me in an elevator and I'm going off on my on my tangent. Yes.
Please do. This is where it's alive and fun, is really hearing about your passion and what has captured your attention. Is there anything in particular about the breath practices that you're speaking of that have just really knocked your socks off?
Well, yeah, breath holding. I the power of breath holding is amazing. If somebody doesn't have contraindications for it, you're supposed to get oxygen to your brain second by second by second. Any change to that is phenomenally important to your brain. So it will prioritize that uh, in relationship to all input. But in addition, it's crucial for your cells. So as soon as you hold your breath for a few seconds to the level of discomfort, the cells have to respond by mounting certain factors in order to keep you safe for a period of time based on the understanding or perception that you will breathe in again. So it does stuff like slightly shifts what genetic expression you have. And if it's short, intermittent breath holds, your entire capacity for resilience at a cellular level increases. Your capacity to tolerate carbon dioxide increases, which means you're less likely to get stressed. And there's a whole like very complex level of mechanisms associated with that. And also, your brain is subject to higher levels of plasticity in those short bursts of breath holding. And there's been Nobel Prize winning research on the power of breath holding that nobody really thought to place into the field of yoga, into this group of Indian researchers did it. So, yeah.
Where would you recommend someone begin just to, again, direct experience? You can't beat direct experience.
No.
Where would you suggest someone begin just to start exploring this for themselves? Is there a particular practice or a particular direction you would point someone in and say, test this out for like a doctor says, for 7 days, for 14 days, XYZ?
Well, what's amazing is that if you engage in breath holding for about 3 minutes, and when I mean breath holding, I'm saying about holding in the in breath or the out breath, which is more powerful and harder, for 30 seconds for about 3 to 5 minutes. Obviously, you inhale and exhale in between. Actually, in that short period of time in one session, there are some changes. For more consistent changes to occur, the person could do that 3 to 5 minutes for about 4 weeks. And if you go to about 8 to 12 weeks, you're talking about real change at a cellular level. And the word that I want to highlight is resiliency. Your cells become more resilient, and certain factors associated with cellular longevity are also activated. Inflammation pathways are downgraded. So, 3 to 5 minutes, guys, 12 weeks, it's pretty powerful. But yet, try it for yourself. Make sure you don't have high blood pressure or asthma or fear of breath holds, obviously, because sometimes people get nervous when they're not breathing.
Oh, okay, thank you. That was awesome. So let's shift gears a little bit, and I'd love to invite you
Mhm.
to share through your lens. What would you say are some of the important qualities of being that a yoga teacher cultivates so they can be of greater service to their classes and their students, or a yoga therapist?
So, both need to be open minded. I think I would start with saying knowing that they do not know is essential. And that's taught within many traditions. Socrates was the wisest because he knew he did not know. I think being willing to be uncertain and to hear the input of students while also having confidence in the knowledge that's there, but always being willing to question. The best yoga teachers and yoga therapists I know are willing to upgrade their narrative. They are not defensive because they're true seekers of knowledge and the truth. So that's first of all. The second is authenticity. Unfortunately, with these short 200-hour trainings, which is not a lot of time, it's a great start, but it's not a lot of time. People often feel the need to present this image of themselves, and it's inauthentic. And I think that if a student comes in and sees a teacher and imagines that they figured out their entire life, and they've been coming to yoga classes for a year and they're still feeling really stressed out, it's like, well, what is wrong with me? So I think that at the appropriate times, yoga teachers and yoga therapists being honest that they still struggle and not creating this guru-like sense, unless you're enlightened, and I do believe in that concept, don't pretend to be. And I think that also there should be a like insatiable thirst to keep knowing and to understand that students are an incredible vessel of knowledge. They teach you probably more than your teacher training.
Are there any experiences in your journey that you
Mm-hmm.
think back, you remember walking out of a class and having that thought or that knowing like that was an extraordinary session and that was a really extraordinary guide? Were there any other qualities that educator brought forth into the student's experience?
Well, I think it's, coming from their own wisdom. I think that that's really, really powerful. Um, the way that one's voice resonates, the quality of what they're teaching. Um, Sometimes it's often like almost ineffable. There's just something about how grounded the person is in front of them or in front of me that gives rise to a sense that the entire room does that. When everybody feels like they've become more embodied and they're not sure why, but it's through the other person's presence because they continuously practice. And maybe that's also, part of who they inherently are. But there are so many qualities that make somebody exceptional at bringing light and awareness to another person.
As we conclude this conversation, Heather, I'd love for you to imagine that the following message or
Mm-hmm.
transmission or blessing, whatever feels real for you, that imagine every yoga teacher will have the opportunity to receive this message. I'd love to invite you to share, like, what would that message be?
It's a truly powerful practice that you have undertaken on a role. It's serious. It is providing guidance to those who are seeking wisdom. It is providing support and holding for those in pain. And this needs to be something that you live, that is coming in and out through your cells, because you may show up for a yoga class and that is your job in a moment, but somebody who's sitting there, what you say may alter the path of their life. And that may sound grandiose, but it's not. I mean, before this, I was speaking to Christopher and he said, yoga saved my life. And I could exactly share that sentiment. And there is that one moment, the first one that occurs, where you move from thinking that's not possible to it is. So take your role seriously.
Heather, thank you so much. Below, friends, is a link on how you can explore some further offerings with Heather. Heather, what organization would you like to direct people to so that they can find out about yoga therapy, workshops, or any continued education they can explore with you?
So they can go to the Minded Institute website. And if you're interested in bringing yoga into healthcare, the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance, which was read out in part of my bio, that's a great resource. And Paul Fox really spearheads it. And he's making incredible headway in the United Kingdom.
Hmm,
So, yeah,
beautiful. Heather, thank you so much for your contribution to this,
thank you.
and we thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Daniel. My appreciate it as well.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.